Hey guys, welcome to the Storm Shelter. I'm going over testimonies for others and helping others actually give their testimonies and bring it to those that are trying to share their story. So stick around and listen. Thank you. All right, hey guys, welcome to the Storm Shelter. Today we're doing the testimony of Sister Valentine. So here she is, guys, and again, she's from overseas as well, so don't mind the accent. But we're going to get this done and over with, and we're going to get to hear what she's got to say and how God's touched her life. Go ahead, sister.
Hi guys. Okay. Quite nervous. I don't know why. I've been hesitant about actually sharing my testimony, but I'm like, it's your testimony, you never know who it could touch. So um I'm just gonna share my testimony. Um I would say I have like little testimonies throughout, but I'm just gonna share on one big one that I think God has helped me through. Um Okay, also I'm from South Africa. I'm 22 years old. Name is Valentine, but I introduce myself as Valentine because it's easier to say and I think it's cooler as well. Also, I'm in the car, don't mind me. Um, yeah, okay. So to start off, um, my history is that I've been in church my whole life. Also, I have notes here, so if you see me like reading something, so I don't lose track of where I am in my story. Anyway, so I grew up in church since I was a baby, been in church. Um, yeah. My dad also used to say, um, when we were growing up, he used to tell me and my sister that, no, you guys are going to serve in church. You guys are going to serve. And we were like, no, we're not going to serve in church. And now we actually, well, I used to when I had free time, but my sister still does. But we serve in church. Like we used to serve heavily, like really well, like all the time in church. So I think she, he prayed about that. So I'm grateful that he prayed about that because church has played a huge role in my journey in Christianity. Um, but also from a young age, I was addicted to porn. I was really, really addicted to porn. I used to watch porn all the time. I still remember, I don't know when it started, but I remember when I was at my grandma's place. Um, I don't know, for some reason I couldn't sleep, so I went into the living room and I just started watching whatever was on TV. And I didn't know what was on TV, but it was something sexual on TV, and I was just like, okay, I need to watch more of this. So then the following night I would go and watch TV, but it wouldn't be the same thing that would pop up on TV. I'm like, why isn't the same thing that I was watching yesterday on TV? And I was so annoyed because I wanted to watch it, like I wanted to watch whatever it was, I wanted to watch it again. Knowing like back then it was probably some like pornographic photographic image or something on TV at late hours, like that's when the um adult content comes on. So I couldn't sleep, and ever since then I used to like wake up all the time and like want to watch it, but I never saw it again. And I just remember, um I think I started when I was like in grade, I don't know if how American is it, fourth grade? And I'm in South Africa, so in grade four, I think that's when like I started. Like we just got internet, like we got it on our computer, and then I used to sneak at night and use the internet. And then in the morning when they complain about the internet being used, like it was finished, like who used all the internet? Who used? And I'm like, I don't know, but I know it was me busy watching porn. I used to like all the time. Every night I used to watch it. Then I used to watch it on my phone. I was heavily, heavily into porn. But I was like, no, I think I'm fine because I'm not really doing anything. Um, I'm not I'm just watching, I'm not touching myself, I'm not doing anything, I'm just watching porn. It's fine. I should be okay. Like That's how I was thinking. I didn't think that porn actually had like effects, psychological effects on you at the young age, and at an older age. I didn't know that it actually had an effect on you. So I used to watch porn, a lot of porn. Even my mom, like, I'll get to another part of it, but when I told my mom that I used to watch, she's like, you know what? I actually saw you watching it one time, like, but you fell asleep, and I saw it on your phone, but I didn't say anything because I thought maybe it was something else. Like, I didn't think anything of it. That time, I'm like, what? My mom caught me watching porn, but I didn't know. Like, I was that heavily, like, deep into it. Like, I couldn't go a night without it. And I even remember coming home from school and people will be like, let's go to the park. And I'm like, no, I don't want to. And then I'll just like go on my phone and then watch it. It was really, really bad. Okay, let me just look at my list to make sure I am saying everything and not missing anything. I also remember my mom and my dad used to watch TB Joshua. I don't know if you know this other pastor or if anybody knows this other Nigerian, I think, Lagos. He used to preach. I don't know if he still does. And he used to deliver people from demons, and used to watch that. They used to watch it every single day, like day and night. Like they used to watch that every single day. And I remember telling my mom, like, Mom, Ed, I need deliverance. I know I have demons. Lust. Like I feel like I have lust. I didn't know what lust was back then, but I was just like, I think it's lust. I don't know. Like and my mom used to laugh. Like, what do you mean? What are you talking about? I'm like, I have demons. I have demons. I couldn't explain myself, but I knew that there was something wrong because I was addicted to porn, but I didn't know how to tell them. I was like, one day I'm gonna tell my parents, but how am I gonna tell my parents? How am I gonna tell my family? But one day I'm gonna do it. Maybe when I have a house, and then I'll tell them when I'm out of the house so they don't judge me. And I was like, I had it all planned out in my head, like my whole future and everything, but God obviously had other plans. Um, but I knew I had something wrong, but I just didn't know how to break from it. Like what did I need to do? Um, so watching this. Okay. I also attended youth. My sisters, they first attended youth because youth you had to be in grade 7 and the 7th grade before you could actually attend youth. And I used to be like, I want to attend, I want to go to youth, I want to go to youth. And then the first time I went to youth, it was at a campsite. It was called summer camp. And that's actually when I actually got saved. Not saved. Yeah. That's when I got saved and I gave my life to Jesus. And I thought this is happily ever after. Like, in the story, no more addictions, no more porn, like this is it. I finally got like the answers, like this is it. But unfortunately I went back to porn. I went back to like everything else, and I didn't know that getting saved means like you don't have to go again and then be saved again and again and again, because I would sin every single like week. I would like watch and then I'm like, oh no, I have to go and give my life again. And I used to, oh, it's raining. I used to they used to give out Bibles whenever you get saved, and I used to just collect the Bibles. Like there's like stacks. We used to have stacks of Bibles because I kept on going to the front. Like I want to give my life to Jesus again. I want to give my life to Jesus again. Like it was a continuous thing. I was like, I don't know how to break from this. Like I don't know, what do I need to do, and I don't know. I felt like lost. Like I felt like I'm never gonna end this. Like it's never gonna stop. Like I don't know what to do. But I gave my life at the camp, but went back to my sin, went back to watching porn, gave my life to Jesus every Friday at youth, and the people will probably look at me like this girl is crazy. Like, why is she here every single week? Every single week she's giving her life to Jesus. So I felt like, yeah, I felt really lost. I don't know why nobody, like, why didn't a leader talk to me? I'm like, you don't need to be here all the time. I feel like a fool, but we live and we learn. So yeah, get my life, still watching. Okay, so while I was still, if you do hear any noise, I think Discord is good at canceling noise, but it is raining. Anyway, the way I was able to watch porn on my phone, because now we didn't have internet on the computer, it was more of the phone. Like I could watch it on my BlackBerry. We were connected to the neighbor's Wi-Fi. So I don't know, maybe the neighbor found out that we were connected to the neighbor's Wi-Fi, because one day the Wi-Fi just wasn't working, and I'm just like, there goes my phone. Like, what do you mean? Like, why is the internet not working? Like, what the flip? I need the internet. And I was like, oh gosh, this, there's nothing I can do. Then I felt like, oh, maybe they know. Like, do they know I'm watching? Like, I felt like really scared. But that's when I feel like God orchestrated that. I think God was like, okay, you clearly don't know how to stop by yourself. Let me stop it. So I'll say Jesus, God, he stopped the Wi-Fi so that I eventually stopped watching porn from there. But then I was so deep into watching porn over and over, I ended up imagining it. Like I'm like, okay, if I don't see it, I'm just gonna imagine it. Like I have my own imagination. So every single night, in order to sleep, because I could not sleep, in order to sleep, I would imagine porn scenes in my head. Like, okay, I like that porn scene. Let me imagine it. Okay, let me imagine this one. And then I would fall asleep at night. Oh, demons. Jeez Louise. Oh, I was so deep into pornography, and looking back, every time I think back, I'm like, God really delivered me, because those are the times where I'm like, I really think I'm not gonna be able to stop this. I feel like I'm never gonna be able to end this addiction. So thank you, Jesus, for saving me. Because that's being addicted to porn is really tough to get through. But yeah, so I used to imagine porn in order for me to go to sleep. So in 2018, long story short, I always thought that my family was perfect. I thought my family was perfect, because in school they would be like, you don't know what people are going through, you don't know what's happening at home, so you need to be careful about your words and yada yada yada. And I'm like, what are people going through though? My family is fine. What could people possibly be going through? And in 2018, when I was in matric, in grade 12, in the 12th grade, I found out that my dad was cheating on my mom. And I was just like, well, he cheated in 2011. It started in 2011, and then I don't know if he continued, but he cheated on my mom in 2011. I think he did continue. But and I was just like, whoa, okay, so things do happen, but my family was quiet about it. So all along, my family wasn't so perfect. My world was shattering around me, but at the same time, I was so grateful that everything got revealed at that time, because I don't think I would be prepared or mentally able to absorb everything that my mom, because it was my mom that broke everything to us, because my dad was away. So my mom was the one who told us about the infidelity. Is that what it's called? But about the cheating and everything that's happening. And I was just like, okay, so this is what's happening in my family. This is the little thing that's not good in my family. And that kind of sparked up an open conversation because we were all going through some things, and I don't know what made me want to, but I eventually told my sisters and my mom that I was addicted to porn. Like, I told them that I did this and I used to do this and that, like how I used to watch it and stuff. And I just like opened up and I was like, wow, is this the time I'm actually telling them? And they were like, no, we understand. We're here for you. And that's when my mom told me, like, I caught you the one time busy watching, but I didn't know. So that was just like, I felt like that was um like a moment where we became like one. Like, I felt like we just became like a stronger family because now there's like no secrecy. Like, if we want to tell, like, we could just tell each other everything that we wanted to tell. So I felt like that was like a very pivotal moment in our lives, because after that, I'm not gonna go into it, but my family was like a lot of things went on, a lot of things happened. But yeah, that's when I told my family about pornography addiction. And I actually remember my dad. I eventually told my dad as well when he did come home from being away, because I remember catching or seeing something on his tablet that he had that was that had porn, and I'm like, oh, okay, so my dad watches it. And I think that it was maybe a generational thing. I feel like he maybe didn't deal with those um, issues, and then it passed down to me. Maybe I could be wrong, but I feel like it was like a generational thing, because if I saw it on his tablet, that means maybe he didn't deal with it, or he hasn't canceled it in his life. But he was on fire for God. Like, he was one of those people that, like, this is a man of God, this is a man of God. But I think maybe that was just like a secret demon that he had to deal with, but he didn't. And then it led on to me. But I want to cancel that, so I don't give it to anybody else. So I remember seeing it on his device and being like, okay, so it's like a generational thing. And I remember telling him, he's a very stone cold dad, so he was just like, okay. So there was nothing much that happened when I told him. He was like, okay, I understand, type of thing. But I love him. And yeah, so after that, after 2018, I left high school, and then I also did an internship in 2019, 2020, internship in my church for 2 years. I was also, this is like a side testimony type thing. I was also really I used to swear a lot. I was addicted to swearing. Like, in school, I used to swear so much. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm never gonna be able to stop swearing. And then in 2019, when I started the internship, at the end of the internship, I realized that I stopped swearing, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is great. Like, this is one of the things that I always wanted to do. I always wanted to stop swearing. So that's like a side testimony. So if anybody swears, it's possible to stop swearing. God can do it. So in 2020, 2021, 2022, it wasn't like as hectic as it was when I was younger, like in the younger years of watching porn. Like, it was like, here I would get like an urge to watch porn, and then I would stop, and then a couple of months would go by and I'm like, oh, let me watch porn again, and then I would stop, because it was like that guilt of like, I know I shouldn't be doing this, especially since I came from the internship. Like, I know I should know better, but there was always these like sudden bursts of like, or these sudden urges of, I think I need to watch. Like, as soon as I get that thing, I'm like, okay, let me buy airtime, let me buy data, let me do what I need to do, let me connect to like what, like, I would get those urges to actually watch. Until this year, the beginning of this year, or more like March, April-ish, I think I maybe watched it, and I was like, no, like, I've actually had enough, because the amount of guilt. I would feel so much guilt after watching it. It was like 10 times worse than how it used to be when I was younger. Like, I'm like, this is like some like icky feeling. Like, once you watch it, you feel like you can't go back to God. Like, I feel like my relationship with God is like no more. Like, this, it's like over. Like, God is never gonna forgive me. Like, and I know God is gonna forgive me, but I don't want that perpetual type of sin. Like, I'm like, no, it needs to be like, now it's just up to me. Like, God gave me free will. Like, you have free will to choose how you want to live life. Yes, you can be saved, but you can also stray away if you want to. So there is free will. There's also power in the name of Jesus and stuff, but sometimes you have to take reign and you have to want to change. So I had enough. I was like, I'm sick of this feeling. I'm sick of wanting, I'm sick of falling for my flesh, like falling for this addiction. And one of the things, like, it's like, I think Pastor Richard Lorenzo, from The Rock, am I saying that? Yeah, from ROC church, he says, like, you're going back to your vomit. Like, you shouldn't go back to your vomit. And I kept on going back to my vomit. Like, that was like the pits. So there was another verse, there was like a scripture that I read back then, which actually changed my view, or like changed my mindset of like, okay, now I can actually take a hold of this addiction and like throw it to the side. But I can't get to it. I couldn't find it. Preparing for this, I could not find it anywhere. But I came across another encouraging like verse. It says, I think it's 1 John 3 verse 8. The Bible tells us that when people keep on sinning, it shows that they belong to the devil, who has been sinning since the beginning. But the Son of God came to destroy the works of the devil. I don't want to belong to the devil. When people keep on sinning, it shows that they belong to the devil. I'm like, no. When I read that, I don't want to belong to the devil. So I'm like, I need to get myself together. I need to stop this perpetual sin, because it's another thing of sinning and then not knowing that you're sinning, but then doing it on purpose, or like, yeah, it's another. I feel like it becomes another thing. So what I learned is that sometimes when you give your life to Jesus, there's a lot of great testimonies that once you gave your life to Jesus, or once they gave their life to Jesus, everything shifted. But there's also my story and also other people's story. I think it's also with Sister Crystal. Like, I feel like I could relate to her because she gave her life to Jesus, but it also took some time for her to turn, or like stop her habits. And sometimes you need to just take the reign and like rely also obviously on God's strength, but take what are the words? Take physical like stance and be like, okay, what can I practically do in order to stop my addiction, or to stop this the sin from occurring in my life over and over and over again. So for me, it was actually reading I think it was an article. I think that's why I can't find it. I think it was an article that said perpetual sin is like an abomination, something like that. And that really, like, I don't know, switched something in my head. And also that other verse that I read earlier. And I'm gonna read what I wrote here because I'm losing my train of thought. I said, sometimes transformation happens overnight, and sometimes it's habits that we just need to unlearn and take steps to stop sinning. Also, pornography, I want to also mention this. I felt like alone. Like, I felt like pornography addiction is a man thing. Like, that's a male thing. That's not a female thing. But any pornography does not choose a gender. Whether you're a female or whether you're a male, like, you can be addicted to porn. And I feel like people that might be struggling to get out of that pornography addiction, I feel like there is, not I feel, I know. Why am I saying I feel? There is a way out. There is Jesus. There is things that you can do in order for you to stop falling into that sin. Like, I think there's like a verse in the Bible. I don't know which one. I forgot which one it was. But it was like, if your hands cause you to sin, cut them off. If your eyes cause you to sin, cut them out. I'm not saying do that. But if you do it. I didn't say it. But there's a scripture that says,
I was just saying that was one of Jesus's ways of showing like how detrimental it is to actually want to take care of the sin that's in your life and stop it so that you can go to heaven. And not a lot of people realize that. It's like, that's like, they think like, oh, well, I'll tiptoe that line of sin. And he's like, no, it's like, this is how far you want to separate yourself from it. Like, if your right hand causes you to sin, cut it off. It's like, it's better for you to lose that part than your entire body to go to hell. So I know exactly what you're talking about there. I wanted to speak up there because it seemed like you were struggling a little bit trying to get that out, but keep going.
Thank you.
No problem.
I was struggling. Thank you. That's what I mean. That's where I was going with that. So, I think it also depends on your hunger. Like, how badly do you want to stop? So there is a way to stop. There is a means to stop. For me, it was God stopping the Wi-Fi, and it was also, so yeah, I don't want to make it super long, but yeah, I'm super grateful that God orchestrated different times and different situations in my life that helped in stopping the addiction and stopping the thoughts, because after not watching porn, it was, okay, now I need to think about it now in order for me to sleep. And so all of those things, I felt like the devil was trying to let me think that it will never end, it will never stop. But I can say, and I can testify in saying that there is a way and God can get you through it. And I feel like also being open to people. I feel like if I was more open to maybe my leaders in church, and well, I was open with my family, but not as open as I should have been. But I feel like more open you are, the better help you can get. And like, also, what you call it, when someone is there to like make sure you're doing something or like make sure you're not doing something.
Hold you accountable.
Accountability.
Yep.
Yes, hold you accountable. Yes. So it's great to have someone that's gonna hold you accountable, even though sometimes you don't want it. Sometimes I don't want it. I'm like, don't hold me accountable. But it's great to have someone there that's gonna be like, hey, don't do that. Hey, you shouldn't do that, or you should do this more, or because God wants us to be in community, but the devil thrives in like when you're alone or when you're in your own thoughts. And all the time when I was watching porn and I was thinking about pornographic scenes, why can I never say that word? When I was thinking about the scenes, I was by myself. I'm in my own thoughts. But I feel like as soon as I told my family, there was less of a hold over my life, because I didn't watch it as often. And I feel like, I felt more free, if that makes sense. So I feel just a word of encouragement if anybody is going through that, if anybody is going through graphic addiction, pornography addiction, or even swearing. I feel like swearing is like maybe one of the things that is more accepted in the world, I would say. But our words hold power. That's one of the things I was like, I need to stop swearing because I want my words to be like, not negativity, not like words that's gonna make people question whether I'm a Christian or not. Like I want my words to be of God. So I lost my train of thought. But with I feel like any addiction that you have, just place it onto God. God will do certain things in the background. I feel like God is always working in the background in order for you to actually like get out of that addiction. And don't let the enemy try and make you think that you're never ever gonna stop, because I have been lied to by the enemy. And I feel like since April, if I'm not wrong, since that time where I made that stance of like, I'm not gonna watch it, I haven't watched it, and I'm grateful, and I can't wait until I can be like, I haven't watched it in like 5 years. I can't wait for like that huge testimony of like I haven't watched it in forever. And I want to be able to be that person that maybe young girls go to and be like, how did you stop? How did you get out of it? Blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, don't worry, I'll be here. I want to be able to guide young kids, or even maybe adults, who knows. But yeah, that's my testimony. I feel like there's also other testimonies, but I feel like that's the one main testimony that I would like to share with you guys.
Well, absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing. And it's like, I know addictions alone can be a difficult shackle to break. Not all of them are like me, where God is like, guess what? You're not doing that anymore. It's like, oh well, I'm not doing it anymore. Okay, and He broke me free of that. It's He does it different for everybody, and like swearing, that's something that I'm still struggling with now, to be honest. It's like, and I don't do it all the time. It's just every once in a while one will slip out, and it's like, ooh, hey. So,
Same.
so it's like, hey, I'm gonna bind that real quick. It's like, I don't want to do that. And I don't know. I don't know if that has a lot to do with like the individuals you keep around, the things that you listen to or watch, or whatever that makes it feel comfortable for you to do that. And so, like, I know me coming to God, a lot's changed in my life. Like everything from the music I listen to, the people that I spend my time with, to the things that I watch, video games that I play, everything's changed. So it's I like you said, it's one of those things where you want everything to resemble God, and it's beautiful, it's awesome, and I know that pornography was not an addiction of mine. Did I watch it before? I mean, yeah. I mean, I'm pretty sure like almost everybody's watched it at some point or another. But like I said, it's one of those things that we find out that each person has a specific sin or two that it like latches onto them, and it's really hard for them to shake it. And that just wasn't one of mine, thank God. But I'm glad that you were able to get through that, and successfully too. It's I've seen quite a few people that are still struggling with it now, and they're just begging and pleading, God, please take this from me. But I think a lot of that has to do with being willing to hand it over and have the self-discipline to be like, you know what, I don't want to do this anymore. And instead of being like, well, hey, I've got that feeling, so I'm just going to go ahead and do it, And it's like, well, where's your self-discipline? You didn't even try to stop yourself. It's, but yeah. So anyone out there, if you guys are struggling with those things, I mean, take that to heart. Like, you are able to get through that no matter what. Like, God is there, and He's going to help you pull through anything as long as you're willing to give it to Him. Just like Sister Valentine here. So thank you so much for sharing your testimony. I know we had some technical difficulties there for a minute, but it's all right. That happens. I expect it to, especially with us being overseas. Things happen. Like things will happen, and interruptions will happen. So, but I'm glad that didn't lose you completely, and we were able to get this, wrapped up, and everyone can hear your entire testimony there. I mean, if you ever want to reveal any more of the ones that you have, like, because you said you had a couple more, but those are the big ones there, be more than welcome to. Any of you out there that you guys want to share your testimony, make sure to reach out here to Storm Shelter, and we can actually help you share your testimony with the world as well. Don't be afraid. It helps every single person out there, and we're not meant to hold it to ourselves. We're meant to share it and help those that are going and dealing with the same sins that you've dealt with, or the same struggles that you dealt with, or even just inspire others. So just make sure you don't hold it onto yourself. Bring it, and allow somebody else, if you don't want to record it yourself, allow somebody else to record it and put it out there.